HBCU Digest Radio Digest After Dark. This is a special edition for Giving Tuesday, and our next guest up is the distinguished president of the HBCU of the Year, Benedict College, President Roslyn Artis. So, Madam President, great to have you on again. So today is the big philanthropic day for HBCUs. All over the country is Giving Tuesday, but you guys have built this as HBCU Giving Tuesday. So obviously, we know why philanthropy matters, but what are some of the specifics that stand out for you and the Benedict community where gifts matter and what they actually support?
So gifts matter in every possible way. For the institution, we think about infrastructure, technology, and investments in our facilities. But on a more granular level, we think about direct support to our students. Scholarship assistance is needed. So many of our students are first-generation, low-wealth individuals who are Pell dependent. As the federal government jockeys back and forth with Pell grants and student loans and work study, scholarship aid to students becomes even more critical.
Talk about some of the differences between philanthropy for public institutions and for private institutions. We obviously know that public schools get appropriations from the state government. That's taxpayer-funded dollars. But when we think about giving to private schools specifically, why that's so important, even just for operationals, let's not even think about endowment. Let's not even think about scholarship provision, just for operations of a school. How do those dollars break down and make such a big difference?
They go directly to the bottom line, Jared. We know that institutions continue to struggle to simply make ends meet, very much like our families in this country. Our institutions have to pay utility bills and all sorts of other both direct and indirect expenses to keep the lights on, literally and figuratively. Without state support, without that state subsidy that comes to state institutions, without even really having to ask, short of meeting metrics, our private institutions are left to their own devices to ensure that we're able to meet our obligations and provide a high-quality education for our students. So for private institutions, I dare say that contributions are even more critical.
Now, Benedict has had a lot of success over a lot of areas over the last 2 years, especially since your tenure. But one of the ways that the school has really done some really marvelous things is encouraging more alumni giving. The alumni giving rate is up. Overall dollars are up. What has been the secret for Benedict to really engage with families and organizations to get them supporting the institution?
Well, I'll tell you that the secret sauce at Benedict College preceded me. This institution is celebrating its 5th consecutive year of $1 million or more in giving from alumni alone. This past year, we saw about $1.34 million come directly from our alumni. The institution has about 17,000 alumni across the country, and so you can imagine that per capita, they are punching significantly above their weight. The truth is, tigers bleed purple and gold, and they support this institution to a tremendous degree. I could not be more appreciative or happier. What we need to try to do to improve on that number is really increase the participation rate. We're still hovering around 17, 18% of our alumni giving. And when you think about 17 to 18% accounting for nearly $1.5 million a year, 4% of our annual budget, imagine if we could double the participation rate, what that would mean to Benedict College. So that's really our goal as we move forward, increase participation at any level.
Let's talk a little bit about that, because Black folks are among the most philanthropic ethnic groups in the country, right? We give through church, we give through fraternities and sororities, we give in a lot of ways. But at the same time, while that giving among Black folks is up or at least sustained, we know that there still remains a struggle to get a larger share of Black college students coming to HBCUs. Right now, we're still at about 1 out of every 10. So do you think that there is strategy? Obviously, there's strategy in building enrollment. But are there any measures that we take to get to communities or Black folks who may not have intimate ties to HBCUs? And if so, how do you do that?
So I think that the reality is the appearance of choice. for our Black children to go to any institution their heart's desire and their academic capacity, their intellectual capacity allows them is a bit of a myth. We know from what we're seeing across the country that our students still are not wholly welcomed at a majority of PWI institutions in this country. However, those institutions are so much more well endowed that they're able to compete for and attract our best and brightest kids of color. They're able to offer them full scholarships. They're able to offer them housing. They're able to offer them, tuition fees, room, board, books, you name it, a full package. Very few HBCUs, particularly privates, are able to meet them in the marketplace to that extent because, as we discussed earlier, private institutions, that's actual cash to the bottom line. That's not a write-off. That's not a subsidy. That is actual cash. We have to have the money available to fund those scholarships. So if we're going to continue to compete for our very best and brightest students who we know will absolutely thrive in the culturally sensitive environment that we provide at historically Black colleges and universities, we've got to have the ability to compete with direct scholarship offers and packages consistent with our predominantly white peers.
There's so many areas that colleges, period, not just HBCUs, but college, period, have to fundraise for. They want to create more scholarship opportunities for students. They want to renovate and build new facilities. They want to support athletics. They want to build endowment. If there is an area where you would tell an eager donor, this is where your funds would best go, what would it be? Obviously, it would be something unrestricted. But if you were to tell them here's where we can really, really put your money to work, what area of the academic enterprise would you direct them to?
Academic enterprise being key technology. Mm-hmm. We absolutely have to update our labs, our technology infrastructure, and our facilities. To do that, certainly we can establish designated funds for the upkeep and maintenance of our facilities. We know that it's an arms race. Our students deserve the very best in terms of facilities to compete in, to learn in, to grow in, and to discover. And we simply have not been able to keep pace because of literally generations of underfunding for historically Black colleges and universities. So if I had my greatest wish, it would be that our alumni, friends, supporters of historically Black colleges recognize and appreciate the extent to which we absolutely need investments in our infrastructure in order for us to keep pace with the 21st century technology-driven economy. So many alums and friends want to have control over their philanthropy. Mm-hmm. That's to be expected. People want to know where their money's going. There are lots of ways to ensure that your money goes where you intend it, right? You can create an endowment, designate, describe how you want your money to be used. That's a binding legal document, and it will survive long into the future beyond any presidency, beyond any administration. And so I would urge alumni and friends who have a heart and a mind and the capacity to be able to make gifts to our institutions to own your philanthropy. Designate your dollars where they can be most impactful. Again, my preference would be for infrastructure support. We laugh, we talk about things look just the way they did when I graduated. That's not a good thing, right? That's not a good thing that our dorms still look the same as they did when we graduated, or that our labs still look the same as they did when we graduated. We want our institutions to grow. We want our institutions to be consistent and competitive in the future. In order to do that, we have to have those critical infrastructure dollars.
And where would you direct people to give? And we so much appreciate your time, especially on Giving Tuesday. But where can people find more information and really plug in to give those dollars today?
Listen, www.benedict.edu. You can text to give. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. Search for the best of BC, Benedict College, and you will find a way that is convenient for you to give. And in keeping with my colleagues here, you know that there are several of us college presidents, HBCU presidents, who've gotten together to support one another's institutions.
Yeah.
You saw my good buddy, Makola Abdullah, a president of the year in his own right, stand up and make an appeal. Support the HBCU that's in your neighborhood. If you didn't graduate from an HBCU, or if you are a friend of HBCU, support the HBCU closest to you. Support your alma mater if you had the honor and privilege of going to an HBCU. And support Benedict College. I wouldn't be the president of Benedict College if I didn't say, first and foremost, support Benedict College.
Are you going to throw shade like Dr. Abdullah did? He was shading Norfolk State and Virginia State, and Virginia Union. So are you going to take any shots at any competitors?
No shade in sunny South Carolina. We love Morris. We love Allen. We love Claflin. We love Voorhees. We love South Carolina State. We have 8 HBCUs, including Denmark Tech in South Carolina, and it is right that they all thrive. If we were all firing at 100%, we could not meet the need for the kids in South Carolina that need an HBCU education. So while I have a particular preference for Benedict College, I would be grateful for your support for HBCUs more broadly, particularly those located in the state of South Carolina.